All right, all right, all right. We are gonna start this in just a second. Okay. Um, all right, okay. Welcome to your Passive Legacy podcast. Hello, hello.
Hi, hi Eve.
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic. We can go ahead and get started here. We're a couple minutes.
Sure.
Not even a couple minutes, but 1 minute. Okay. Welcome to your Passive Legacy podcast, where we talk about how you can quit trading your time for money. This is your host, Master Coach Eve, and we have a special guest today for Q&A Tuesday. Today's topic is going to be about being an entrepreneur, and we are going to have Ayana Onuara. I think that's how you say it. Is that how you say your last name, Onuara?
That is correct. It's Onuora. Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do, where you're located, and how people can find more about your services?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Eve. Hi, everyone. I'm Ayana, and I'm the founder of ARO Global Enterprises, where through our programs, we help existing and aspiring entrepreneurs realize their dreams, transform their business and mindsets along the journey. I'm physically based in Las Vegas, but I service individuals and their businesses nationally and internationally. And you can find more about myself and our services by visiting my Facebook page at ARO Global Enterprises. You can also follow me on Twitter, handle at Ayana Onura, and also at my website, aroglobalenterprises.com.
All right, all right. So hopefully everybody got that. If not, you're going to have to get the recording. Okay. Okay, so let's get into it. Um, what what do you believe? What do you think is the top things that all entrepreneurs need to know?
um, First and foremost, I want to, in the words of Winston Churchill, he said, complexity is not a virtue. If you if your product or service is complicated, it will be hard to communicate that to your customers and your employees. So entrepreneurs need to be mindful of that to start off with. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be all convoluted. And if you go in with a, you know, taking simple steps, baby steps, one foot in front of the other, rather than complicating the process, then you are already setting yourself up to succeed by making it as simple as possible for yourselves and also for your customers and your clients.
Okay. Can you describe a little bit about what do you mean by simple?
For example, as a small entrepreneur, say you don't have staff or you have a small group of staff or people you work with, less than 50. We're taught traditionally that you need a business plan. That is a complicated and complex and time consuming document. You don't need to go there at first. You can have a simple one page, and I'm an advocate for this, the business canvas, where you list the three problems that you have identified that you will solve with your products and services, revenue streams, what your ideal customers look like, and how you're going to get your brand, your message, your products and services in front of the people who need it the most. So that's taking the complex business plan and simplifying it.
Okay.
So you're not wasting time.
So you're saying if you're just starting out, you don't really need a business plan?
You absolutely do not.
Okay.
And I have come to learn this from personal experience myself.
Okay. The most important decision you need to make. What do you think the most important decision is that entrepreneurs need to make when they first start out?
You need commitment to yourself, to be good to yourself, and just go for it. You have to commit to put in the time and the effort, and you have to commit to see it through. You're going on a roller coaster ride, and you can't get to the front where they're going to admit you onto the ride and you take the seat and then turn away. Or halfway up in the air, you want to course. You have to ride it out, because there's going to be ups and downs. You have to make that commitment to stay true to what you believe in, your products and your services. You've got to make that commitment first and foremost.
Okay, so committing to what you're doing. You know, I see a lot of entrepreneurs that actually don't know what they're doing, and then they don't commit to it. And they go after the next shiny thing, and you're like, weren't you doing this business last week, and now you're doing this new one this week? What is going on? So I've seen that a lot.
Absolutely.
I've seen that a ton. What would you say about entrepreneurs that are looking to come up with ideas? How can you come up with ideas as an entrepreneur? Or should they even try to come up with ideas, but just, kind of model after someone else?
It's funny that you asked that question. I personally am not an inventor coming up with something. And we now live in a stage, an age, a decade where I don't believe that anything that can be invented hasn't been. So my 2 cents is that you look at what's out there and how you can improve upon it and make it your own, make it better. So if you're a genius and you can come up with something that is not already there to satisfy people's needs, wants, and desires, then that's fantastic. Go for it. But I think you'll save yourself a lot of time, money, and heartache by looking at what's there, what you can improve upon. Because the human beings are phenomenal, and we have come up with something to solve every problem. But also, before coming up with something, ask yourself the question, why has this not been done before?
Right.
There's probably a good reason why it's not out there already.
Right. It's not viable. If it's not viable, then
exactly.
That's probably why nobody's done it. You don't. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. Viability is probably one reason. I think if you did enough research, you'd probably find that your great invention or idea, somebody has probably tried it before and it's not working. It didn't work, or there's a demand for it. There's not a need for it.
Right. So really, just honestly, if you're a new entrepreneur, it sounds like you're saying don't reinvent the wheel, but improve upon something that someone has already invented, and just find out where they're failing at making the product a good product, and then just make it better.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. What do you think successful entrepreneurs have in common? I noticed that with a lot of my mentors, they have a lot of things in common. They're interested in the same things, and they're really big on personal development.
I do believe like attracts like when it comes to that. And successful entrepreneurs, they are firm believers in themselves. They have that self-belief, and they have this way of getting out of their own way. And as you just mentioned, that they do a lot of personal development, because you have so much coming at you as an entrepreneur. The easy way is to do a 9-to-5, and I'm not knocking a 9-to-5 because I've done it. But to be an entrepreneur, you'll hear so many no's. You'll come up against so many roadblocks. So successful entrepreneurs, they find different ways to motivate themselves, stay motivated, stay committed, because of all the negative things that they have to come up against. And they have to build that tenacity, that strength of character and fortitude to forge ahead. It's a mindset as well. And that's something we're not taught growing up in school or in our daily lives. And it's something that we should teach our kids. I'm going off on a tangent here, so that they have successes a lot sooner than we do. Me personally, I wasn't taught that, to have that strong mindset and not to give up, and, you know, how to overcome. I think it's a mindset thing. Also to
perfect sense. That makes perfect sense what you're saying. But you know what, not to cut you off or anything, but I think that it's totally not a tangent. You need to teach your kids how to be like true grit. There was a study done about true grit. When you have true grit, you can actually make it through a lot more than someone that's pretty much handed things on a silver platter. But you know, I don't think that you can really teach a child that unless they go through some stuff. Notice that a lot of the successful entrepreneurs, they've been through some stuff. They have experienced extreme challenges, extreme losses, and things that the average person doesn't really go through and don't really put themselves in a position to have to go through. So it makes sense of what you're saying. And I think that you're right on about teaching our kids how to be entrepreneurs and how to really make the best of life and try to improve upon what somebody has already created.
Absolutely. We tend to, we have our comfort zones and we have our stretch zones. And one thing I've found with people who have achieved great successes in different areas of their lives is that they have put in the work in terms of the personal development and gaining knowledge, you know, through self-development, so that they can persevere and achieve what they want to achieve. So I think that's key. It's always pouring into yourselves, into ourselves, to continuously grow and stretch and achieve new levels of understanding and acquiring new skills and improving on the skills we already have. So that, I believe, is key into being successful, is pouring into ourselves as entrepreneurs.
Right. And being a lifelong learner too. I mean, there's no way that you can be an entrepreneur and not learn anything new. You have to learn new things. It's a learning curve. Being an entrepreneur is a learning curve. And sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. So that you have to be willing to learn from wherever you can get the information from. That's great points that you just made. And I think that a lot of people just need to hear it. They just need to hear that, because not everyone is an entrepreneur. I hate to say it, but some people are parallelpreneurs. Some people some people really do need to be working for someone else, because being an entrepreneur is not easy. It's challenging. It's a challenge every day. Sometimes you're going to be working 16-hour days, you know, in the beginning, until you get a system together, your operating system together. And until you get a routine going, you're going to be working some serious hours. And I think everybody who is an entrepreneur can attest to this, that when you are basically boss, if you want to, you know, wear the boss hat and be in charge of your business, be in charge of, you know, a company, there's just so much you have to do. And as an entrepreneur, you're wearing multiple hats. So with
absolutely,
that kind of leads into my next question. We already talked about how taking action and really just learning how to educate yourself. There's a lot of informal training that needs to be done. What kind of small steps can people take towards their goal to be an entrepreneur? Because a lot of people are afraid to take that leap, even though 47% of the population in the United States is entrepreneurs, and 99% of jobs come from being entrepreneurs. So they provide jobs. What small steps do you think someone can take who is working a 9-to-5, who really wants to branch out on their own and do their own thing? What steps can they take?
First of all, you have to be honest with yourself. Can you tolerate risk, or are you adverse to taking risk? And once you're honest with yourself, then you need to face the fear and get out of your own way with that fear. And that again is doing little things, whether listening to motivational talk speeches, having a support system around you. So whenever you want to take that step back and not go for it, that they will help to propel you, push you forward. Also, you have to know your why. If you're just being an entrepreneur chasing the dollars, then you're
toast.
sad to say it's not. Yeah. There you are. You know, it can't be all about the money. If you're just chasing that money, you're setting up yourself for failure, you know, sooner or later. So why do you want to do what you're going to do? Why you want to get into that particular field, you know? And once you settle on your why, then it's okay, how am I going to get there? And when I say how you're going to get there, don't spend months, weeks, forever doing research on how, because you'll never start it. You have to set limits and boundaries. Okay, you decided why you're going to do what you want to do. You found your why. Next, you have to set up, okay, by this date, I'm going to accomplish this, that, and the other. You have to have checklists. You've got to do that. So you're doing your 9 to 5. I'm going to commit 3 times a week, 2 hours when I get in from work, that I'm going to commit to doing what I need to do to get my business going. Or every Saturday out of the month, whatever works for your lifestyle, but you need to make that commitment and have checklists and hold yourself accountable. If you're not great at holding yourself accountable, find somebody who can help you hold yourself accountable, and just write out the steps you need to take because the steps a personal trainer needs, the steps that a t-shirt printer needs to take, they're different. So you have to figure out how by doing some research, and then checklist and timeline, and go for it.
Okay, you mentioned a couple things that I think are really important. You mentioned that, you know, you need to make sure that you know your why. That is huge. If you don't know your why, you're toast. Like, you got to have a really good reason. You've got to have a really good reason to be in business. And there's 3 types of why that I'm aware of. The why of using personal leverage. So you're going to use your family as leverage, or you're going to use your community or humanity. And those 3 levels really just gives you an opportunity to give all that you have in that arena, and use that as leverage. You got to have some type of leverage on yourself to get yourself to do something. And you just mentioned, hit the nail on the head when you said, you know, that you have to prioritize. And when you come home, you spend those couple hours, you know, and you hammer it out for those couple hours. I have to do that. Like when I published my first book and whatnot, I had to do that. I had to come home when I was super tired. I'd already worked 8 hours, but I put in 3 more hours, and, you know, I made it happen. That's just brilliant. And just pointing that out to people just lets them know, like, hey, you do got to do the work. You have to do the work. You have to be willing to put in the hours, because it's not going to come for free, and it's not going to come easy. That's just brilliant. I have another question.
Something else.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, just to expand on that point a little bit, you also have to be aware that you're going to come up on roadblocks, and you need to have a plan A, B, and C, because if you said, okay, you're going to do this, do A, B to get to C, but it might not necessarily work out that way. So you need to be prepared for that as well, so that, you know that you're going to have to sacrifice sleep. Sometimes you will get to that point where 2 hours after work won't cut it. You need to put in 4. Exactly. You know, so
oh my God,
expect the unexpected. That's what I'm saying.
This is so juicy. Like, people really need to hear it, because it's, yes, you're going to have to put in the time. And if you love sleep more than you love getting things done, you're not, I mean, I'm sorry, you have to put in the time. You got to pay your dues.
Absolutely.
That's
Yep.
awesome. That's awesome. I just want to ask about what are some of the obstacles you think that entrepreneurs are going to face in that survival phase of their business, that first 2 to 3 to maybe even 5 years?
Wow. One of the things that I experienced personally, it's the negative chatter from others and allowing it. So, you have your why, you're passionate about what you want to do, you're passionate about your product and services. And then it's so easy for us as humans to believe the negatives rather than the positives. We're quicker to jump on those. I owned a small boutique in England, and a woman walked in one day and she said to me, "Oh, are you still open? When are you going to close?" And I let that crush me. So, and I lost focus. Rather than brush it off, ignore it, forge ahead, I took that on. And that does something to your soul, and it's, as entrepreneurs, you're going to get a lot of negative chatter. Oh, that won't work, or you're wasting your time and money. You need to be prepared for that and know how not to let that in. So that's one. Also, two, on the financial side, listen, you can do all the predictions in the world, do all the financials, all the forecasts, but life changes, things happen. You need to be prepared for that and have contingency plans. It's great to go on a wing and a prayer, but you also need to be mindful of that you're going to hit that rough patch financially. So know where your money is going, know how to spend it. And also, you need to have, even you talked about that, funnels.
Yes.
You have income coming in from this revenue from here and also from there, because things change. So you need to be able to be open to go with the ebbs and flows that you're going to have to go through, being a new entrepreneur and being new in the marketplace. You're going to feel like a tiny little fish in a massive ocean swimming with sharks. And you have to learn what you're going to have to do to be able to grow, so you don't get swallowed up by everything else.
Exactly. We have some viewers, and I wanted to open it up to see if they have any questions. But in the meantime, I wanted to ask you, because this is really important. We have about 8 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
This is really important, and I wanted to ask, what are some ways that people can get over the obstacles that they're going to face? Because a lot of people, they're fearful from the get-go. They won't even start because they think, oh my gosh, this person's going to say that, or this person's going to do this, or, this might happen to me. What are some things that people can do to get over that initial fear of becoming an entrepreneur and taking the leap?
I call it testing your dream. You need to, your desire to be an entrepreneur, you need to ask yourself, will it benefit myself, my family? Will it benefit others? What will it cost if you don't do it? What will it cost you? Who will lose out from you not doing this? And if you are excited by it and you do feel a bit of fear, then you definitely should be going for it. Now, how do you protect yourself from the naysayers and the negative people that will probably tell you not to do it or it won't succeed? I listened to Lisa Nichols, and she said something that has stuck with me. She said, do not share your $1 million ideas with people who are who have $100 dreams. Basically, that wasn't her words, but the sentiment of it is, if somebody is thinking on a small scale and you're thinking on a much bigger scale, they won't be able to understand that. They won't be able to see the way or help you find the way to achieve your goals as an entrepreneur. So be mindful of who you're sharing with, because, you know, you don't want to get that before you even start. Then you've got to, you have to have your group, your tribe, your cheerleaders who believe in you and will help you get to where you want to go.
Oh man, you are just like, a wealth of wisdom. I have loved this conversation with you. I know that a lot of people are going to get value from it. I really appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation with me. I haven't got any questions coming in, so let's see who's on. Bawero, do you have any questions, Lady V? I honestly think that people who choose to be entrepreneurs, it's not really something that you can help in the first place, because it's something that you're driven by, and it's a nature. It's not necessarily an action that you take, but a nature. It's my nature to be an entrepreneur. I like, I love the lifestyle of an entrepreneur. I don't just talk about being an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur. I do things that other people look at me and they're like, that's crazy. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting 2 hours before I have to. I'm not doing that. But, you know, and so it you have to find your tribe. It's something that you mentioned, that you have to find your tribe. That's huge. You have to find your tribe, because those people who don't think like you, this is, oh my gosh, it's just so funny that you mentioned that people that don't think like you, that are not, they don't have the same goals as you. It doesn't make them bad people. It just makes them people that you should share your dream with, because they are going to say something negative that could derail you. And I've experienced that firsthand. I remember, really quick, a short story. I remember when I was writing my first book, and I allowed one of the people that I thought was my friend to read the book. And I warned her that the publisher published it as my raw manuscript, and that it was just, you know, not that great. And I was already feeling insecure about it. And then she came back and she was just like, oh, it was just so bad. And I thought it would never end. And this was wrong. And that was wrong. And she was pointing out all the things that I already warned her that was in the book. And so I felt completely crushed. And then I went to one of my fellow writers, someone who was also an author. And you know what he told me? He said, Eve, you don't tell people. She's a reader. She's not a writer. She's not someone that you should tell your dream to, because she's not a writer. She doesn't understand. Readers are different than writers. If you're just reading and you have never written a book, then you do not understand the process by which you have to go to produce, to create something like that. You know, entrepreneurs create something. And other people consume things. And so when you tell somebody about something that you've created and they're just a consumer, they may not be your target audience. And that could really hurt if you do not be careful about that. So I really want to thank you for bringing up that point. I think that point is going to hit home for somebody. I know that I've experienced it. It sounds like you've experienced it. If you are
I sure have.
If you're an entrepreneur that's been around for a while, you've experienced some stuff. And you know what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any closing thoughts that you would like to share with us?
Absolutely. Believe in yourself. Love yourself enough to go for it. You have to love you. And loving yourself will take you to take the first steps necessary. So just do that. Love yourself enough to give yourself a chance. You know, you'll surprise yourself. And that's about it from me.
Thank you so
I want to say
for
thank you, Eve, for sorry. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts and wisdom with you and your audience. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. And of course, this won't be the last time that we talk. I know I'm going to find something else I want to talk to you about. So be
Oh yeah.
heads up on that one because you gave some really juicy information. Thank you so much. I'm going to close up now. Thank you, everybody, for watching on Facebook and on the podcast. This has been your Passive Legacy podcast, where we talk about how you can quit trading your time for money. And as an entrepreneur, you have the opportunity to create something so that you can earn some evergreen cash flow. And if you would like to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me at sibusinesscoach@gmail.com, or you can join the Stay Motivated to Speak and Write group on Facebook. And this has been your Q&A Tuesday. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Take care, Ayana.
Take care, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.